I don't think anyone could save my life before I met my wife. I'm not seeing anything. One of the main stars of Alaskan Bush People, Noah Brown, has been through a lot of terrible things that have hurt him a lot. The sudden death of Noah's father, Billy Brown, in 2021 changed his life. Noah was known for being good with his hands and loving his close family. As Noah worked to make his home safe and stable for his wife and child, he lost everything. Lost something important to Noah. It made it hard for him to move on. However, Noah keeps going even though things are hard for the sake of his family. Come with us as we look into the terrible story of Noah Brown. Noah had a lot of problems with his family because he cared a lot about them. A few years ago, the smart kid who was known for helping Alaskan Bush People members out of any jam got in a lot of trouble with his family over his wife. Noah Brown and his wife Rain met while she was on vacation in Hoonah, Alaska, in 2016. And their story was the same as many others about falling in love at first sight. They hit it off right away, and their relationship quickly grew serious. Noah thought it was time for them to take their relationship to the next level a year after they met. It was a beautiful evening for a walk in Juneau, so he got down on one knee and asked her to marry him. A year later, the pair got married in Idaho, in front of close family and friends. Since then, the lovers have worked hard to start a family together, even though it was hard because they were in the desert. It was hard for them, but that wasn't their main problem. Pretty quickly, the couple saw that some of the bush people, mainly Bird Brown, didn't like having Rain in the pack. There's no question that Noah and Bird were close as brother and sister, but this changed as soon as Rain came along. The two women had a hard time getting along, which made Rain's life after the wedding very hard. You ask what could have caused this? It's said that Rain got into trouble when she changed her name from Ruth to Rain. Several reliable sources say that the name change didn't go over well with some of Noah's family members. Rain Brown, in particular, thought that Noah's wife stole her name, which she described as a move that single white women would make. However, Rain's mother had a different take on the matter. She said that her daughter had changed her name from Ruth to Rain when she was in middle school because she didn't want to be called Ruth anymore. There were also rumors that the Browns didn't want Rain to take their last name, but Noah quickly put those rumors to rest by telling the media that Rain would definitely be taking his last name. Even though there were problems, Noah stood by his wife like any devoted family man would. He showed his love for her and their future together. Even though the name problem might have given Rain the wrong idea about the Browns, Noah made it very clear that his wife is welcome in his life and in his family. Things were hard for Noah in more ways than one after the name dispute. In fact, he and some of his family members were taken to court in a scam case. Noah and 5 members of the Brown family were arraigned in court before their wedding. They were facing major fraud charges. There were 60 charges against the Brown family, running from first-degree unsworn falsification to first- and second-degree theft. Alaska's Permanent Fund dividend gives money to people who have stayed in the state for at least 1 year. This is where the fraud case got its start. The Browns filed for the basic income program because they thought it would be a great way to add to the money they were making from the show. But after getting a tip about scam, the Alaskan Department of Revenue began looking into the family. In the end, they found that the Browns' claims on their PFD applications were not true. The investigation manager in charge of the case said that the Brown family did not meet the standards for being present in order to receive the money. Why? It was against the rules for applications to spend more than 180 days a year outside of Alaska, and proof showed that the Browns did spend more time than that movie making their show. Billy Brown, the head of the family, was charged with the most serious crimes. He was hit with at least 24 charges for getting about $13,000 by lying about who he was. As a result, Billy pleaded guilty in court and was given a 30-day jail term, told to do community service, and told to pay a fine. Besides that, Noah and the rest of the Brown family were not allowed to apply for the PFD funds again. At the same time, the other family members who were charged had to repay the money they had stolen in order to escape going to jail. At the same time, the Brown family had a health scare that almost killed the mother of the family. In 2017, AMI Brown, the grandmother of the Alaskan Bush People, was told she had advanced lung cancer. This meant that the Brown family had to leave their remote life in Alaska to go to Southern California for medical care for their mother. No doubt that her health was bad, but the news scared me more. After being told she had cancer, Amy was only given a 3% chance of living. But she wasn't going to give up without a fight. She began harsh treatments, such as radiation and chemotherapy, to try to win the battle against the dangerous illness. During this time, her husband Billy and their children also helped out and were a big part of reassuring AMI that everything would work out. After a lot of hard work, she lost about 77 pounds, but in the end, it was all worth it. Later, after a few months, Amy got good news: her cancer had suddenly gone away. That was the prompt start to her healing, which made it possible for her family to return to the wilderness. A few years later, Amy was rushed back to the hospital just as she was starting to feel better. It wasn't about cancer this time, though. It was found that she had serious pneumonia. The Browns and their fans were worried about AMI because she had health problems in the past. But Snowbird quickly calmed everyone down by posting an update on her Instagram page. AMI's immune system was still healing from cancer treatments when she got pneumonia, which made her very sick and kept her in bed while she was closely watched by doctors. Like always, the Brown family came together to help their mother get stronger. Doctors told her to get a lot of rest and have regular checkups, which slowed down her recovery. But she did get better and moved in with her family on the show. When the Brown family thought they were through with things, another tragedy hit and broke up the wolf pack. Billy Brown, the family father and the show's main star, died in February 2021, which was a terrible loss for the Brown family. Because he died at age 68, things changed for the family and for the show. Billy died after having a deadly seizure at his family's home in Washington state. He had been sick for years with heart problems and other issues. His death left a hole in the family because he was more than just the head of the family. He was also the boss of the wolf pack and helped his family get through the problems they had to deal with on the show. Many people were shocked by his death, not only because he was the main reason the show was so popular, but also because he represented the spirit of the wilderness better than anyone else and became the show's signature. The family of Brown was very sad about what happened. Noah was the first person to tell everyone about the sad news on his Instagram page. In his touching post, he talked about how his father was his best friend and how much it hurt him to lose him. He said that Billy had died peacefully with his loved family by his side. A lot of people in the Brown family shared their stories and sadness as well. Billy's wonderful wife, Amy Brown, who has been with him since the beginning, was heartbroken when he died. The Brown family and the people who made the show dedicated an episode to Billy as a way to say goodbye. In the episode called Back to the Bush, the family got together to remember their patriarch's life. There were some moving moments. Each person thought about how he had affected them and the lessons he had taught them. There were scenes where the family members talked about how they would handle life without their guide. As the Brown family talked about how to keep Billy's dream alive, the episode went from its usual exciting scenes to ones of sadness. People who watched the show after Billy's death were worried about what would happen to it now that he was gone. A lot of people were curious about whether the family could continue living the way their father had planned for them without him. Still, Billy's family made it clear that they will follow through with his dream. They promised to do what he asked and keep the camera running because they were determined to show that Billy's memory would live on through their work. A terrible wildfire in Washington ruined the family's new ranch, adding to their other losses. In 2020, the Brown family checked in on Instagram to show how the Palmer Fire in Okanogan County, Washington, had changed their house. Mystery aside, the fire spread quickly and consumed the Browns' newly bought 6,000 acres, destroying the ranch that was also used for filming the show. The video showed Noah and his brothers talking about how the family had lost a lot but was lucky to be saved in time. He also told the fans that the family doesn't need money from the public, they just need their thoughts and support, because the whole pack is safe and sound. Even though the Brown family has been through a lot, the fire seems to be the worst thing that ever happened to them, because it happened right after they had moved to start a new life after their matriarch's health scare and their patriarch's sudden death. The family also lost a lot of money because the ranch was worth about $1.6 million. They lost their expensive property in the fire, but it also changed their way of life. Because of the storm, the Brown family had to stay in hotels in the city, which is very different from how they usually live. The family lost a lot when they lost the ranch. It hurt even more to think that they would lose a place that their father had helped build. The Brown family had to go in a different direction after the fire than what Billy had planned for them, but they were eager to rebuild and carry on his work no matter what. While the family kept getting back on their feet, Noah had to deal with yet another loss. After the fire, Noah and his wife Rain had to make the hard choice to leave the woods and move to the city, where they had lost a lot of property. Everyone in the Brown family was hurt by the fire, but Noah was hurt the most. After rumors spread that he was leaving the ranch because of a family emergency, he quickly spoke to his friends. Some people thought he moved because his wife was going to have their second child. Noah talked about what was going on his Instagram page and said that the only reason he and his family left the North Star Ranch was because the fire burned down everything he owned. He had to rent a house until he could get everything back that he had lost. He ended by saying that he doesn't want his people to give him money or gifts, but to always support him. The new season of Alaskan Wild People followed Noah as he looked for a house. Many of the homes he looked at didn't meet his standards. It took Noah a while to find a new home in the area he wanted, but he did find what he called the perfect home for his young family. The family could start over in their new life at their new home on an island. The remote area reminds him of the life he lived in the woods as a child, so he can raise his children in a similar setting. It wasn't easy to leave the ranch, but it was nice to see Noah and his family finally settled down in a place that feels right. But his move made fans wonder what he had planned for the show in the long run. As a way to honor their ancestor, the Brown family vowed to stay in the wilderness. But here is Noah, not in the forest. So it looks like Noah is still on the same page with the wolf pack. He will probably be going back and forth between his new home and the... Noah told everyone that his search for a new home almost ended before it even began while they were moving from the ranch to Alaska. A little accident happened on one of his house hunting trips, and he hit his head on a metal pole, leaving a dent in his head. There was more to the story, though. Noah told them that besides the accident, he had more concussions over the years than most professional fighters. Fans of Noah might be surprised by this because he is known for being smart. Noah, who was once thought to be the best wolf in the pack, was now having trouble remembering things. He thought it was because he had persistent post-concussive syndrome, a medical condition that could last a lifetime. Even though Noah's illness was very bad, he tried to make the talk with his wife more fun. He joked that his taste buds have changed since the accident and begged his wife to make him try new foods to see how they have changed. What a surprise. Noah used to hate hot foods, but now he had no trouble eating them. Even though his memory problems are scary, Noah is still eager to keep going and try to find his footing. Life has other plans for him, though. Bird Brown, his sister, had a health scare. At first, it wasn't clear what was wrong with her. But after more tests, the doctors found two big tumors that weighed 8 pounds and 4 pounds each. After the tumors were physically removed, a biopsy was done on the tissue to find out if the cells were cancerous or not. Bird briefly talked about her health problems in an earlier episode of Alaskan Bush People. I always put it off because I didn't want to go to the doctor, because I didn't think it was something important. Things are a lot worse than I thought they would be.